Those in favor?
Put your hands up nice and high,
Yep.
please. 4, 5, 6.
That's 6 for approval, none opposed.
Excellent. All right, third item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of September 20th, 2023.
So moved.
Mic on, Krista? Krista, make sure your mic's on in front of you, please. Otherwise. we
All
can't
right,
hear you.
thank you.
You get the, make sure the mouthpiece is in front of you.
All right. On page 3, in the third paragraph, the one that starts, there was some discussion. Let's see. In the third line from the bottom, it says, remind the board that when the recommended the ordinance to council. Okay, I think that is easier to read if it says, remind the board that when they recommended the ordinance to the council.
I'll be sure to take a look at that before the minutes get posted. Thank you.
That's it.
Any other comments? All right, all those who approve the minutes?
That's 6 for approval of the minutes with the noted changes.
Actually, John and I have to abstain. We weren't in attendance.
All right, keep your hands up again. please.
Yep.
The second time hands up without the abstaining. So that's 4 for approval with 2 abstaining with the corrections.
All right, fourth item on the agenda is new business. We have a site plan review application by Down East Emergency Medical Institute located at 121 Kelly Road, tax map 26 lot 1 in the Economic Development Zone District. The application proposes to construct a 40 by 60 garage storage building with the 5,500 square foot gravel fill area. Is the order that they do their presentation first, then you'll, perfect. All right, Northeast, you are up.
Good job. Make sure you hit the mic button.
Or down east, sorry.
Yep. Green light, you're good to go.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Vinyl Appleby. I'm a registered professional engineer in the state of Maine, and I am a volunteer for Down East Emergency Medicine Institute, otherwise known as DEME. We've been in town based in Orono for many years. With me tonight, this gentleman is Robert Bowie. He's a co-founder and director of DEME. I think between the two of us, hopefully we can answer any questions that you might have. This is an opportunity for DEME and an exciting time for DEME because if this project moves forward, we are looking to erect a storage building. This opportunity, or this will give us the opportunity to bring all of our assets into one storage location. Right now, we have some separate storage over there at 123 Kelly Road, which is basically the property that we're talking about this evening. We have some assets stored at in Bangor in some lease space. And what I mean by assets are various parts and pieces to our vehicles. We have a number of land vehicles. You've probably seen our Humvees in town. We have a pickup. We have a mobile command center, which is really an outfitted motor camper. And we have some other bits and pieces that normally are used in search and rescue operations. We have some emergency food provisions, generator, and that kind of stuff, lights. So I think it's important to note before I get into a short presentation here that this will be, this particular building will be the first time in the state, or the first in the state, that is wholly dedicated to a volunteer search and rescue organization for the sole purpose of providing a location for the critical gear. All right, there's none other yet in the state meeting that criteria. So we also see it as a place for volunteers to meet on occasions and maybe to receive assignments for our missions prior to conducting a search. and a place where we can do an occasional training session, or something along those lines. So in brief, on the project, we're looking for your approval tonight. I guess we fall under group development code and a minor site plan at that, based on the size. And Demi actually owns, and the subject property here, Demi owns two lots on Kelly Road, 121 Kelly, which is now being used as a residence, and 123 Kelly Road, which is a very small storage unit that looks like those that you see popping up quite everywhere. That maybe at one time was used as a public storage area, but since Demi's purchase, they're using that as well for some storage. So we're essentially, as indicated in the introduction, we're looking for approval to erect a 40 by 60 steel building, single story, basically situated in between the two existing structures, setting back off the road a ways. I guess why we meet group development criteria is because of the mixed use, the residential, residential and a business type operation. And I guess because of 40 by 60, as your previous planner, Kyle, told me that, a 40 by 60 is probably a little bit larger than your typical residential garage. So, I mean, we're not purporting it to be that anyways. Demi will use it for the purposes I already stated. So our application has much more detail, but in a quick summary, I'd like to highlight a couple of elements to the project. I mentioned it's a metal building, 40 by 60, serve the purposes of storage. It's a steel framed, basically a slab on grade. It will be open area. The architecture inside, if you're wondering, would be an open area. We're not looking to put in a bunch of walls, maybe one small office in a corner that were for record keeping and file storage, but basically it's going to be a big open storage area. I mean, I did use the word garage, but it's not that it's going to be a garage for mechanical type operations. Okay, it's storage. So it's going to have electricity. We obviously plan to have lights inside, but no plumbing is proposed, no bathrooms, and nor is any central heating proposed. I mean, we'll bring in a space heater if necessary or as needed. And I offer Robert the opportunity to correct me if I say something wrong. Okay, thank you. He's the applicant. This is going to be too large. If you saw the plan, we're proposing two large doors for vehicles to go in and out of the structure. Basically, they'll face Kelly Road, but setting that far back, and with the existing vegetation that we have on Kelly Road, this building won't be all that visible. We'd like it a certain part visible, so people can say, oh, there's where Demi's headquarters are. But if it's our abutters next door, you probably know this location is the town of Orono Public Works building. So I think it fits harmoniously in with the neighborhood. We're not proposing any new driveways or any new entrances. There's two now off of Kelly Road. They're connected together basically in the middle, but primarily one is used for residential use. One is primarily going to be used for their operation and for storage, but they're interconnected. So there would be probably some loop throughs. We're proposing a few building lights over the man door and small yard area lights that will be cast downwards. Basically, we just want to see in front of the doors as we come and go. We don't intend to light up the whole yard. No freestanding pylon signs, no freestanding signs or pylon signs. Let's see, as far as traffic goes, basically nothing. I mean, I can't even put a number on it, and I'm an engineer. I mean, we're not having, weekly or daily meetings or anything like that, just as needed to come and go, to bring storage equipment in and take storage, take items out. So as indicated on the plan, we have a small gravel area, like just barely over 1/10 of an acre of new gravel we're proposing to bring on site, and basically around the building. And then the building itself, so you add those two impervious areas together and it's 0.19 acres, so 2/10 of an acre. I might want to mention that the residential building will remain occupied. Basically, that's a DME volunteer is living and going to continue to live there, basically an overseer for the property. So we feel it's a nice, safe location. And finally, you'll see in our application, we requested 2 waivers, one being the boundary survey requirements. We asked for that waiver because basically all of our boundaries are available on the town plan that was created for the Public Works building. So basically, I just copied that information over. Didn't see it to be worthwhile, and we're asking for a waiver that we don't have to regenerate that information. And the second waiver we're asking for your consideration to grant would be location of the requirement for the location of all the existing trees 12 inches or greater. The rear of the property will remain wooded. It's fairly heavily wooded now, and it's just a lot of trees to go out and locate all the 12-inch. I show on the plan group of trees out front, which would serve as buffers, and the rest of it is wooded area in the rear. So that's basically my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board, the applicant?
Isabel would normally give the presentation.
Oh, next, then we do questions then? Let's do the order then.
So for those of you who I haven't met yet, I'm Isabel. I'm the town's new town planner. I just have a couple of things to add in terms of the ordinance. So in general, the reason that this is going under the group development standards in Article 2 is simply sort of a definition matter. Your definition of lot notes that only one principal use can be on a lot unless being reviewed under group development. Both of these uses would otherwise be allowed within the zoning district that this is within, as is group development. So it will be reviewed under sort of the group development standards, also outlined in Article 2. The existing lots, the existing lot, I should say, at 121 Kelly is a non-conforming lot of record. That doesn't necessarily mean anything for this application. They're not changing lot lines, making the existing lot smaller. And in fact, the building placement still meets all of the setback requirements of the economic development zoning district, which I outlined in my memo on page 2. Just in terms of, some of the more interesting issues to discuss, there are no wetlands or other significant natural areas within the project area. As the applicants noted, they've requested a waiver of section 18170 to provide the location and type of the existing larger trees, and staff is supportive of this waiver. I have suggested additional condition of approval in regards to that, though, that they'll fence off or otherwise mark the trees that are designated for protection on the plan during construction, just so those are not impacted. In terms of traffic, limited traffic, and I think the application specifically noted limited traffic within our typical peak hour times. No changes to the existing site access points. In terms of like stormwater management, the town's engineering peer reviewer did review this. It's a fairly minor project, and she hasn't expressed any concerns with this project in regards to stormwater management. We did add a suggested condition number 4, which is really just to reaffirm the existing ordinance requirements around erosion control and erosion control. Staff is working to implement pre-construction meetings around erosion control, just so that we can bolster our customer service with applicants. So that's the additional suggested condition that you'll see in regards to that. I think that was all from staff. As they mentioned, the site is currently served by a well and a septic system, but they're not proposing to plumb this building. So no impact there. So all in all, staff has reviewed this, and we're generally supportive of the application, in relation to the reviewing standards of the site plan review ordinance, with the additional suggested 5 conditions that I can read into the record if desired, that were included in the review memo in your packet.
Thank you. So just to reiterate, I did notice that the minimum lot size, it's a no non-conforming lot, but that's inconsequential because there's no lot size changes in this part of this package. Okay. All right. Before we open it to public comment, does anyone have any questions for the applicant or Isabel?
Excuse me, a simple one. You both mentioned you don't plan to plumb it to install water or sewer or a toilet. If they did at some time where they find out they're spending an awful lot of time out there, it needed to use a restroom, would they have to come back to us to change that?
Yeah, it is technically an amendment to the approved site plan because that's one of your reviewing standards around water and sewer impacts. So they would technically need to come back. Yeah.
I'm guessing you.
I really apologize for the bad hearing this evening. You have a question for me? I urged water and sewer question.
It was directed over to our own staff.
I have one question. So I went by the site today. And I noticed that you do have in the back of the site, really a cleared area where it looks like a building could go, a storage building. Is that site, are you gonna have to clear more and fill more? Or is the site that's already cleared and kind of sitting there where the building's gonna go?
Yeah, that site that has been cleared, and what that is gravel. We're allowed 100 cubic yards, and so there's a couple. That's exactly where the building's going.
It is, so there's not any more fill.
There will not be any other fill or any other.
The site is prepared. It's ready to go as it is. Okay, got it. All right, understood. Just wanted to know. Thanks.
Judd, just in case there was any question, that was permitted through the code office as well. So
Sure, I assumed that it was
Okay.
all that you caught. that there
no,
was-
that's all right. We
Yes.
just thought that would be
Yeah.
good
I
to
just didn't know if
clarify.
there was gonna be more, just because it is, the woods are right there and
Yep.
it slopes off, and I was just interested. Right, any other questions or comments? All right, let's open it to the public. I hate to hit that. Any public comment? Anyone online?
No questions online.
No one's online. Okay. All right. Well, with that, I guess we'll close the public hearing. And can I get a motion?
I move to approve the site plan application of Down East Emergency Management
Quick
Institute.
question, sorry. Do I need to read finding the fact that's
Yes, yeah, sorry. Phil usually gets the motion first.
Yeah.
first, then
Yeah.
finding the fact?
Did you want to change that policy? I'm gonna let Isabel take.
So if you decide to go with the motion as I suggested it, it includes the findings of fact that I drafted for you that were included in both your meeting packet and obviously the public meeting packet, it's the same meeting packet. So if you choose to go with the motion as I've suggested it, you would not need to formally read
Is it
findings
an
of fact.
artifact of the process?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay.
So anyway,
Sorry to interrupt. I
No,
just want-
no worries.
Protocol is important.
No, I get it. I move to approve the site plan application of Down East Emergency Management Institute dated September 7th, 2023 to construct a 40 by 60-foot garage storage building and associated gravel area at 121 Kelly Road per the findings of fact dated October 18th, 2023, subject to the following conditions. Did you want to read those in?
Yes, I can formally read them if you would prefer me to.
Why not?
Okay.
So I have suggested 5 conditions and one, prior to construction, the applicant is required to obtain a building permit from the code enforcement officer. The second is prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall mark the drip line of all trees that are designated for preservation on the approved site plan in the field with fencing, staking, flagging, similar. And no construction, staging, or other construction related activity is permitted within that marked barrier. Prior to the third is prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall hold a pre-construction meeting with, at minimum, the code enforcement officer and the town planner to review expectations related to erosion control. And then, pursuant to section 177 I of the town's land use ordinance, soil erosion and sedimentation of water courses and water bodies must be minimized by an active program meeting the specifications contained in the Maine Erosion and Sediment Control Best Management Practices Guide published by Maine DEP, and failure to comply with this requirement is a violation of the town's land use ordinance. And then all noise associated with proposed development, including noise during construction, shall be regulated in accordance with the relevant ordinance provisions, Chapter 13, Article 2. And the applicants and their contractors are well advised to familiarize themselves with that section of the town's ordinances.
Thank you. Can I get a second? All right, let's vote. All in favor?
That's 6 for, none opposed.
Thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda. The next item on the agenda is discussion. Is there any discussion this evening?
Maybe what's coming? What's
Next
that?
month, November?
We currently don't have any formal applications that have been submitted. I would still like to hold our meeting and potentially suggest some process improvements that staff is working on as an informational item, but that would be all I have for you.
Okay, excellent. So November's on, whether we get business or not. Okay. Next item is adjournment. All those in favor?
You need a motion.
Oh,
So
I was
moved.
jumping because
Second.
I was so excited. Sorry.
I said, I moved.
Motion and Ashley second.
Second.
Okay. Now you can raise your hand.
All those in favor?
That's 6 for adjournment, none opposed.
Yeah.